now welcome to the 2024 Glen Dimplex All-Ireland Premier Junior, Intermediate and Senior Championship draw. I'm joined by Uachtaráin Hilda Breslin and Orchdrahur Sinead McNulty, who will be both overseeing proceedings for the draw. The 2023 campaign was momentous, with record crowds in Croke Park. Cork claimed the title in the Senior Championship following a 5-year hiatus against a formidable Waterford team who reached the senior final for the first time in 75 years. The Intermediate Championship went to a replay following an electrifying performance from Meath and Derry, with Derry triumphant and claiming the silverware. In the Glen Dimplex All-Ireland Premier Junior Championship final, Clare saw off Tipperary 15 years after Clare's flagship side finally made their junior breakthrough. And 2024 is set to be equally as exciting. We sincerely thank our wonderful sponsors in Glen Dimplex and the unwavering support that Carmel Naughton has given our sport. So without further ado, we will begin the draw for the Glen Dimplex All-Ireland Premier Junior Championship. So the Premier Junior will feature 11 teams with 2 groups. There will be 1 group of 5 and 1 group of 6. The first draw is to see which group will have the 6 counties, with the other being a group of 5. Group 1 and Group 2 are in the bowl, and the first group we will pull out will be the group of 6 counties. So, Hilda, which will be the group of 6 counties?
Group 2 will have 6 counties.
So we now have 3 bowls, and the first bowl has the first seeds, who will be last year's beaten finalists Tipperary and Laois, who were relegated from the Intermediate Championship. The second bowl will be our second seeds, who were beaten semi-finalists Armagh and Roscommon. So now for our third bowl, and in that is Limerick, Cavan, Down, Mayo, Wicklow, Louth and Tyrone. The first team drawn is placed in Group 1 and the second in Group 2 and so forth. The last team drawn will be placed in the Group of 6, which is now Group 2. Firstly, we are going to draw the first seeds. So that's Tipperary and Laois. And the first drawn will go into Group 1 and the second drawn will go into Group 2.
Tipperary will be in Group 1.
So Tipperary were last year's beaten finalists by Clare, and they will be looking to make amends in 2024.
And therefore, Laois will be in Group 2.
Laois struggled last year in the Intermediate and are hoping to regroup this year. So now we will draw the second seeds. So that's Armagh and Roscommon, and the first drawn will go into Group 1 and the second drawn into Group 2.
Armagh will be Group 1.
So Armagh, the Premier Junior champions in 2020 and were the beaten finalists in 2021 and 2022. They were beaten by just 1 point in the semi-final against Clare in 2023.
And Roscommon are Group 2.
So Roscommon made it to the semi-finals and were beaten by Tipperary. So now we will have our third bowl, and that has Limerick, Cavan, Down, Mayo, Wicklow, Louth and Tyrone. And the first team drawn is placed in Group 1 and the second in Group 2 and so forth. The last team drawn will be placed in the Group of 6, which is now Group 2.
Tyrone.
So first out is Tyrone. So Tyrone were had a disappointing championship campaign after winning Division 4 in the league.
Group 2 will be Cavan.
Cavan made to the quarters last year and lost out to eventual champions Clare.
Group 1 will have Down.
Down, who continue to make great progress.
Group 2 will have Louth.
Louth are continuing to make great strides in the county.
Group 1 will have Wicklow.
Wicklow were last year's Nancy Murray Cup winners and therefore a qualifier for the Premier Junior grade.
Group 2 will have Mayo,
Mayo were Nancy Murray Cup finalists in 2023 and therefore qualify for Premier Junior grade.
and Group 2, which is the group of 6, will have the last team, which is Limerick.
Limerick made it to the quarter-finals in 2023 and were beaten by Roscommon. So that concludes our Premier Junior draw for the 2024 season. So our Glen Dimplex Premier Junior Championship groups are Group 1, Tipperary, Armagh, Tyrone, Down and Wicklow. Group 2, which has 6 teams, Laois, Roscommon, Cavan, Louth, Mayo and Limerick. And the Glen Dimplex Premier Junior Championships will commence on Saturday the 25th of May. Now to the Glen Dimplex All-Ireland Intermediate Championship. We will have 13 teams and 2 groups. The teams are Cork, Carlow, Kerry, Galway, Kilkenny, Wexford, Clare, Kildare, Meath, Westmeath, Offaly and Dublin. The Intermediate Championship will feature 1 group of 7 and a second group of 6. The first draw is to see which group will have the group of 7 counties, with the other being a group of 6. Group 1 and Group 2 are in the bowl, and the first group we pull will be the group of 7 counties. So that group is
Group of 7 is going to be Group 2.
Now we will move on to our draw, and last year's beaten finalists Meath and Offaly, who have been relegated to intermediate for 2024, are in the first bowl. These are our first seeds. The first drawn will go into Group 1 and second drawn into Group 2.
In Group 1 we will have Offaly.
The county was relegated from the Senior Championship in 2023. They will look to regain their senior status this year.
In Group 2 we will have Meath.
Beaten finalists in the league and championship in 2023 after an exciting championship final replay in Clones with eventual winners Derry. So next up is Bowl 2, and we have our second seeds, our beaten semi-finalists Kilkenny and Westmeath. The first drawn will go into Group 1 and the second into Group 2.
Westmeath, Group 1.
So Westmeath made it to the 2023 semi-finals and were overcome by a strong Meath team on the day by just 4 points.
And Kilkenny are Group 2.
Kilkenny were beaten in the semi-finals in Semple Stadium by eventual champions Derry after the game went to extra time. So these teams will be joined by the remaining 9 teams: Antrim, Cork, Carlow, Kerry, Galway, Wexford, Clare, Kildare and Dublin, who are all in Bowl 3. The first team drawn, which Hilda has done, will be placed in Group 1 and the second in Group 2 and so forth, with the last team drawn placed in the group of 7, which is Group 2. First up,
Group 1 is Wexford.
So Wexford were beaten in the quarterfinals by Kilkenny.
Group 2 is Carlow.
Carlow retained their intermediate status by beating Dublin in the relegation semi-final.
Group 1 going to be Galway.
Were the 2022 intermediate champions.
Group 2 is Kildare.
Kildare will be hoping to bounce back in 2024 and have a successful season.
Group 1 is Cork.
Cork were beaten by Meath in the quarterfinals in Semple Stadium in July 2023.
Group 2 is Kerry.
Kerry had a disappointing championship campaign following Division 2 league success. They failed to qualify for the knockout stages, but they'll be looking to change this going into the 2024 season.
Group 1, Clare.
Clare are the newly promoted 2023 Premier Junior champions.
Group 2 is Dublin.
Dublin had a disappointing season, however, intermediate status retained following a defeat over Laois in the relegation final in July.
And Group 2, which is the larger group, is going to be Antrim.
Antrim were the 2022 Premier Junior winners. So that concludes our drawing of the teams for the Intermediate Championship. So confirmation of the groups for the Glen Dimplex All-Ireland Intermediate Championship. In Group 1, Offaly, Westmeath, Wexford, Galway, Cork and Clare. In Group 2, Meath, Kilkenny, Carlow, Kildare, Kerry, Dublin and Antrim. And the Glen Dimplex Intermediate Championship will commence on Saturday the 25th of May. Now it is time for our Glen Dimplex All-Ireland Senior Championship draw. We will have 12 teams with 2 groups of 6. We have 3 bowls. The first bowl has the first seeds from the 2023 Glen Dimplex All-Ireland Championship finalists Cork and Waterford. The first drawn will go into Group 1 and the second drawn into Group 2. Secondly, we will draw the second seeds from Bowl 2, who are beaten semi-finalists Galway and Tipperary. The first drawn will go into Group 1 and the second into Group 2. In the third bowl are the remaining 8 teams: Antrim, Clare, Derry, Down, Dublin, Kilkenny, Limerick and Wexford. Over to you, Hilda.
So the first team, which will go into Group 1, is Waterford.
So following a hugely successful campaign for Waterford in 2023, which saw the county qualify for the finals for the first time in over 75 years, Waterford were disappointed with their loss but are sure to come back bigger and stronger in this year's campaign.
So then Cork will be in Group 2.
So Cork are the 2023 All-Ireland champions and will be hoping to make it back-to-back titles.
And the second seeds, the first team in Group 1 is Tipperary.
So Tipperary had a hugely exciting semi-final, losing to Waterford by just 1 point. It was an incredible game which could have gone either way, and they are likely to be a force to be reckoned with in the championship.
And the second seed, which will go into Group 2, is therefore Galway.
Galway played out a very exciting semi-final, losing to eventual champions Cork by just 3 points.
And then the remaining teams into Group 1 is Limerick.
Limerick failed to qualify out of the group stages, but will have high hopes for 2024.
Into Group 2 is Down.
Down retained their senior status by beating Offaly in the relegation final.
Group 1 sees Derry.
So Derry are the 2023 Intermediate champions and they will be looking to make their mark on the Senior Championship.
Group 2 is Wexford.
Wexford did have a disappointing campaign in 23, which saw them contest a relegation semi-final where they eventually overcame Down. They will be looking to make amends this year.
Group 1 is Antrim.
Antrim made it to the quarter-final stages but were beaten by Tipperary.
Group 2 is Clare.
Clare failed to qualify for the knockout stages but will be looking to change that in 2024.
Group 1 is Kilkenny.
Kilkenny were disappointed not to retain their 2022 title, losing to Cork by just a point in the quarter-final.
And then Group 2, the last team, is going to be Dublin.
Dublin failed to qualify for the knockout stages and they will need to turn the tide this season. So that is all the teams drawn for the Glen Dimplex All-Ireland Senior Championship. So our Glen Dimplex Senior Championship groups are Group 1, Waterford, Tipperary, Limerick, Derry, Antrim and Kilkenny. And Group 2 is Cork, Galway, Down, Wexford, Clare and Dublin. So these fixtures will also commence on Saturday the 25th of May 2024 and will culminate in the Glen Dimplex All-Ireland Premier Junior, Intermediate and Senior Championship finals in Croke Park on the 11th of August. So that concludes our Glen Dimplex All-Ireland Premier Junior, Intermediate and Senior Championship draw. Best of luck to all of the teams, their management, volunteers, clubs and counties for the year ahead, for all of their hard work and dedication. And again, to our sponsors, Glen Dimplex, we look forward to collectively continuing to build our attendances to all our matches from round games all the way through to the finals in Croke Park. After all, it's our game, our passion.